Walter Latham, and I'm here with Ernest J. Robinson. Hey, Ernest, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, Walt. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man, hanging in there. I know we got a lot going on. So let's start with USAID, United States Aid International Development. Right. Okay. And our Leon went in there over the weekend. All right. They didn't want to let him in at first, him and his team. Yeah. But then once they got in, they shut everything down. And then come Monday, they get a message, don't come to the office. This happened to a lot of government workers where they tell them, they don't even give them interview, nothing. Just don't come in. Now, I try to put myself in that situation. I know we had a similar situation, but it wasn't as bad as this. Yeah, I think when I was at Deutsche, every year in May, they would have a round of layoffs. Okay? So every year, somebody would get a call around 4:30. They didn't do it in the morning. They did it like 4:30, just before getting off, And at 4:30, with the phones ring, nobody answered. Nobody. Because they knew HR was on the phone. All right? So they avoided that. But then they got called the next day. Things catch up with you, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel, you try to put myself in that situation, is if they text me or leave a message or send an email to tell me not to come into the office that day, I'll go to the golf course depending on the weather, all right? I'll go to the golf course because I know I'm going to get me another job. But still, these people got families, they got mortgages, they got car payments, they got all this stuff. And they have someone tell you not to come into the office. That's horrible, especially these career folks. That is horrible. And I told you, I think when we talked about Elon Musk and Dylan, when we talked about how they would treat people, we said they're cold. They don't give a daggone about you or your family. They only care about the bottom line. In this case, that's a big bottom line for everybody in the United States. So anyway, not to belabor the topic, but just to touch upon it a little bit and get you to elaborate is how would you feel? So you're a government worker. I mean, you connected with the government. You do contracts with them. You work with them. Mm-hmm. How would you feel in that situation? They just sent you a message. Don't come in today.
Well, as an employee, as a father, provider, and everything else. I mean, it would be devastating. Many of the contractors, as well as the civilian employees, have all been impacted by this. But also, too, as a tenured civil servant, it would be disturbing because of the impact that it actually has on the world itself. For those who aren't familiar with USAID, it began as the Foreign Assistance Act. So this is going back to 1961 under an executive order under JFK. So it's now morphed into what we now know as USAID. But it provides things such as disaster relief, poverty relief. It addresses other global issues, environment, other U.S. national interests. Okay. And so if I'm a person that I know, like whatever my role is, and there's thousands of different roles in with civil affairs and things of that nature that's dealing with foreign interests, foreign allies, as well as the things that are coming in and out of this country and going in and out of other countries. It would be disturbing, to say the least, if I were to come in and to be impacted in this way, as amongst the other financial implications. Yeah, the financial implications are devastating.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially in a tightening job market. I mean, right now, I think those are what you can do with those people. And I'm not trying to disrespect y'all guys, okay? Don't get me wrong. But, the farmers need, all right, in the fields, call it the crops, okay? They're crying. They're getting rid of the immigrants, right? These are the people that work in fields. So if the farmers would come up with the $25, $30, $35 an hour, maybe we get some folks in there to do some work.
Absolutely not.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
No, absolutely not. No. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you the reason why I said absolutely not. One, those who have gone to college or whatever case may be, I mean, everyone has a right to choose their way of living, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with with uh picking crops or whatever produce that's needed. Whether you're a butcher, a farmer, anything in agriculture, or anything in working in these offices in these buildings, right? But there has to be someone there to regulate the policies. So going off, taking everyone out of USAID and putting them in the field in order to fulfill the produce mandate that's needed for this country undermines the mandate that it needs for the policies for this country. And so
Well, I
we
think
can't.
that policies and everything that we have documented and we've been finding ourselves and following all these years is being thrown out the window because they want to shake up of the government. They want to knock
No,
it down
a
and
group
build
of
it back
people.
up.
Well, no. That's no.
What do you mean? No?
They want to build something different. When you sit there and
They
say
want,
not,
but what is the first thing that you learn as a manager? Don't forget, I got an MBA, and I practice what I've learned. What is the first thing you do when you come and take over an area? First thing you do is you get rid of the people that are already there. You want to bring your own folks in, right? That's management. And I did mention to you one time about Sun Tzu, whether you have ever studied that Chinese general. His name is Sun Tzu. 48 Laws of Power is based off of Sun Tzu. Okay? All right? And if you look at that for what it is, then you can utilize it in this environment. And that's what they're doing. They don't really care. All right? The thing is, you want to knock it down. And I've been in situations where I've gone in and I look at, when they call me in, it means they want some type of enhancement. So I have to look at current state. I look at what's going on now, and I have to plan for what they want, what's going to be in the future. So there's a gap analysis that's performed. All right. So I'm trying to rationalize it along the lines of
but you're trying
what a manager does.
But that's not. First off, that's not the role of the executive branch.
When you say the executive, you're talking about the person in charge?
Executive. I'm talking about the executive branch.
Oh, when you say executive, I'm thinking about you private sector.
That's no. It's not the role of the executive branch.
But that's where they're acting.
No. I understand what's being acted, right? And then I do understand, like, you're trying to draw a comparison, which on the surface it may be fair, but again, it's not the same. One of the things that you had said about when someone had contacted you was that you're there to enhance. This is not enhancing. This is actually crippling a lot of the processes that allow for our country to being able to run effectively and efficiently. So no one hired you to cripple the efficacy of its organization. It's done to enhance it. When you had mentioned about Elon not necessarily being allowed to come in during the weekend, one part of that is because there are regular government agent employees do not have just free access to other government buildings. For example, I'm in the military now, and whether in the military now, before, whatever, it didn't matter. As a member of the Department of Defense, so, that's like the Marines, the Air Force, Navy, we are a part of the Air Force. Yeah, we're a part of the Department of Defense. Coast Guard is the Department of Homeland Security, okay? Another branch of the military, but it's Department of Homeland Security. Having an ID does not allow for you just to go to the Coast Guard space. You can't just go and just say, hey, I want to go to the exchange, or I want to, you have to have business as to why you're actually going there. Same thing for any other government office. You can't walk into the building without having access to that building or an escort, and still have to have professional business of why you're there. So that was one of the things that was he got in eventually.
Right.
As, calls were made and things of that nature, but he wasn't necessarily cleared to have that type of access, because again, you're having a brand new office that has been established that has not been congressionally mandated. So then therefore it is not.
He worked for me, right? Doge works for him.
I get that.
Elon works for Trump. That's what Trump said.
It doesn't.
For me.
Right, but I get all that. I get all that. But even a White House official can't just walk into any government building.
You can't even walk into JP Morgan without you being escorted. There's a layer of security. I understand all that, Ernest.
I'm saying this for the benefit of our listeners and those who are watching in, because everyone does not have the understanding that if you're in the military that you can just go to any base. You can't. You just that you're a government employee, that you can just go, that you're a White House official, that you can just go into any building. And also, it's not just going into the building, it was the information and the access in which he was requesting. And so again,
but he got it, he shut them down. He shut them out.
Right.
Once he got that access, he blocked. They could no longer access files or no data sets whatsoever.
Yeah. People's computers were turned off. I mean, so their remote access for their computers, they weren't able to access the computers, weren't able to access the building. So none of this is aligned with the notion, like said, when people called you up, they wanted you to come in to make this place better, to enhance it. None of this is making this better. You are making not only the individual lives of those contractors and civil servants miserable, but you're also compromising the efficiency of our country.
Okay, and I agree with you. You know, I sometimes I like to look at the dark side, because I think what we got in government now, what we elected, was the dark side. Okay, and it's a horrible situation because it is the dark side. Trump is dark. His supporters are dark, and his supporters are the ones who get laid off, because primarily these jobs that they're cutting back on, the majority are white jobs. A lot of them are white jobs.
Well, I mean, so one, I don't think that there's the notion of a black job or white job. I mean, yes, maybe there are that are not of color that may have many of these positions or whatever, but it's not the case. And as a matter of fact, part of it is because there is so much diversity, equity, and inclusion into many of these jobs, whether they are women, whether there are people of color, whether they are veterans, whether there are people who are disabled, whether there are people who have different sexual orientations, or people who have different types of abilities. It's part of the gutting mechanism or catalyst or genesis as to why they're making these types of moves.
Let me just say this. Let me interject one. Right?
Yeah, please.
Okay, and this is a segue to me into the collision between the Black Hawk and the commercial airliner over Washington. Right? And they're still going, they don't know exactly what happened yet. They're still investigating, but yet and still, as we indicated in our previous episode, you got Trump out there blaming DEI. If he's blaming DEI, the helicopter captain was a white woman.
DEI.
Right? Yeah, she's a DEI hired. So maybe he's referring to the white woman. Okay? But it's still an investigation. Nobody can pin it down yet, because there's a lot of investigation to do. For him to come out and give us DEI, because he figured there was some color. Now, I wouldn't say color. I mean, people of color.
Person of color, yes.
Right. So, that's what he was referring to. He didn't realize that the captain was, and she knew, I don't know what she knew, she made a mistake, but they got a certain altitude. They have to fly in Washington at 250, somewhere around that, where airlines are up to 300. They were warned as they approached that aircraft, meaning the Black Hawk pilots. You have something coming towards you. Can you see it? They said, yeah, we saw it. But they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? Come on, man. I mean, I tell you, this guy.
Lord. So when I said DEI, I said that facetiously. So I want that to be clear. But the whole diversity, equity, inclusion, and the reason why I'm taking the time to say diversity, equity, inclusion, because we keep using DEI as if it is some acronym, right, for it to be used for people of color, right? That's or the others, where again, where it's used to kind of demonize, and it definitely has been weaponized. So it doesn't matter the fact that the pilot was a woman. This soldier service member had the prerequisite number of flight hours completed. the number of training missions, whatever particular mission that they were on, whatever training, exercise, evolution that they were doing, I believe was a captain captain in the Army. So
But my condolences to the family. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, I know,
Yeah.
right. She just happened to be in this conversation because
Yeah.
we're trying to determine what's fair in the assessment. Okay, we're trying to let people know they should investigate before they come to conclusions, and that's where he is now. Trump is hung out the drive on this because he's put a shut his damn mouth in his day.
Yeah, but right. Any investigation, let me just say this part. Any investigation has nothing to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Reason being is because the person who is the pilot is a qualified pilot. Has nothing at all to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. The purpose of them weaponizing diversity, equity, and inclusion is to suggest that the person that is diverse, that has been included, is less than. Not that they're incompetent, they're just less than. They're less than. Right. They're not the best. They're less than. And because we have become desensitized, we've heard the word used in such negative light so often that we shy away from it. Same way that, again, years ago, we shied away from affirmative action. Oh, you got here because of affirmative action. No, I got here because there are rules and systems that are set in place to being able to deny me despite the qualifications that I have. So despite her qualifications that she had to become a Black Hawk pilot, which is not, again, it's not being given out to just anybody and everybody to become Black Hawk pilots, right? Does anybody that's listening or whatever case may be believe you can, go down to your local recruiter's office and sign up to want to become an officer. So you have to have a GT score and physical fitness and everything else. Then you have to pass the pilot's test and flight and everything else. So all of those things, do all of that, and then come back and talk to us. But that's what is being used as, to say that she's less than. So the investigation is not going to reveal anything other than there was miscommunication, no communication, breakdown in community. There, it's going to be something. The mechanisms that were being used to gauge flight distance and depth and perception and all this other stuff.
Warning went out to both background.
Right. So that's the only thing that it's going to reveal, is that those things, somebody didn't follow something. There was a mistake that was made somewhere. I think that is not debatable, right? A mistake was made somewhere, and they have to figure out what it was. But DEI has nothing to do with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, both know that. This is a segue into something else I want to talk about, Ernest, and that has to do with the crash, the small aircraft that crashed in Philly. Now, my observation, y'all, is that it's not being covered like any other aircraft. You don't even hear that much about it.
Yes.
All right, because number one, the people on the aircraft, I don't know about the medical crew, but the passengers and the kids and patients and all that were Mexican. And the airplane crashed in a Black neighborhood. Now, to me, I'm just saying, it doesn't look like they're covering it the same way they would cover another crash into a white neighborhood. And it took a long time for them to ascertain how many people died, how many people injured. They're still looking through it. It's still a recovery effort. I mean, this is in Philadelphia proper. Mm-hmm. So why did it take them so long? Why don't they know what's going on? It's not being covered like other crashes. That's my take. Now, the audience may think something else, but I do want to let the audience know that this is my take on it. It's not being covered because you have Mexicans in the aircraft and you have Black folks on the ground.
So there's a couple of things that a lot of people may not necessarily. So 40 years ago in Philadelphia, the mayor dropped a bomb in a Black neighborhood.
Mayor dropped a bomb?
Yes.
40 years ago?
Yes.
In Philadelphia?
In Philadelphia, yes.
What happened with the news? I didn't hear it.
It's been covered. There's documentaries on it. The organization is called Move.
20 years ago, I may have been in Tokyo.
1985.
No, I was in New York.
Yeah. So that I mean, I don't want to go into the whole thing, but the reason why I was saying that, or actually take that back, I apologize. It says it's 36, but anyways, it did happen in 1985. So and part of the correlation between Philadelphia, predominantly black neighborhoods or people of color, and not getting that type of coverage, like you said, like you didn't even know about that, right? And you were 2 states away when it occurred, and at an age in which that would have been something that would have percolated your interest at the time. But anyways, the part of where I give benefit of the doubt to them not releasing a lot of information was the way that the number of people who were impacted by it. So right now, I think that the total is up to like 24 people who have been injured from it, because right, because it landed in like the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah, man on the block. Yeah.
I actually have a family friend who was on their way to get their son some shoes for they had a youth basketball game, got a nail in their tire, turned around from that going toward that mall where the plane had came down and had missed it by minutes. And so but so again, so in backtrack. So the part of the benefit of the doubt was that I think that they were trying to give opportunity for notification to some of the people who were affected by it, that were injured by it. Because it was very wide as far as not very wide, but it covered a lot of different areas, and it was in the middle of a neighborhood. Two, yes, I do agree that it wasn't. It's not the young lady who was it was a little girl who was suffering from spina bifida.
Right.
And went to the Shriners Hospital for care, for surgery. And it wasn't something that fit the narrative of these bad actor illegals coming into the country, staying here, taking our resources, wherever the case may be, because who is going to be that cruel towards a child and their family who simply came to being able to get a procedure that they otherwise would not be able to get, which speaks to the essence of why we have such good relationships with our neighboring countries such as Canada and Mexico.
Well, we did. I don't know how that's going to play out with these tariffs. But anyway, I digress.
Well, the tariffs haven't been enacted yet, so they,
more days.
Yeah. So there's that somewhat of a small level of grace, but again, it speaks to that why we have such great relationships where we're able to care and take to care for one another, and so it didn't fit that narrative, so it's not going to necessarily be on the news stream as I think that it should. And one thing and I'll give credit to Brian Tyler Cohen, who had said that the media outlets, right? So obviously, quote unquote, right wing outlets not going to cover it at all. And outlets that have been listed as liberal will do as much to not seem liberal. And so therefore won't cover it by default of trying to abstain from not, trying to sway too far to the left. And so therefore, this goes uncovered, which I think is a tragedy, because I think the everyone deserves to know what happened, and so that way we can prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to close though. I'm seeing these reels in my feed talking about moving to Africa. How Ghana is so nice. Several other countries are so nice. So people want to move there.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right to have a home there, but your home is here. I look at it like this. For you to give up your birthright, but that's the same thing. That's exactly the same. You're going to give up your birthright that your ancestors came off the boat and slaved and toiled and died and were raped and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And y'all going to say, oh, we just moved to Africa. That's BS to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. If you're going to move to North Carolina, move to South Carolina, move into that country, get you a place over there if you want to. But don't move. Because it's the same thing as a man or a woman abandoning their marriage. It's the same thing. They don't give a damn whether you move or not, but you have a vested interest in this country. This is our country. and nobody's going to make us go anywhere. So stop. I'm talking to Ghana. I'm talking to these countries that are inviting us in. It's okay. We go there on vacation. We got a good house here. But I'm telling them over there, actually, you should be paying us for selling slaves back in the 1400s. So don't get me upset, but because, I mean, in terms of Africa, we need reparations from them in terms of land because they property. They sold us at a profit. Okay, so I don't have anything when it comes. I mean, look, I've been to Africa many times.
Yep.
I've gone over there 25 times. I know West Africa like I know the back of my head. I'm not talking about tourists. I'm talking about going to the bush in the jungle and staying in it.
Yeah.
Okay? So I know the place. The West Coast, I know. Right? And for them to be extending invitations for us to go over there and spend our Social Security, they say, okay, get your little place over there. I'm not saying don't. Matter of fact, you should go to Africa before you go to Europe. All right? They don't want you in Europe. They want you in Africa. Yeah, you got dollars. Okay? And you have a much better time. No. They want us to go, no way, Jose. We were born here. We died here. So anybody that wants to back up and ship over to Africa, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Go ahead. All right? Because you're selling out. You're actually selling out. We need to stay here and confront the issues that we have. That's what we need to do. All right? So I don't want to hear anybody tell me or try to moderate anything regarding Africa. I know Africa. I've been there many times. I love the place. I wanted to retire in Sierra Leone, West Africa. So, because my wife is from there. I've been there.
But you wanted to retire there.
I wanted to retire there before the Civil War. They had a Civil War that started in 91. I left there in 89.
I got you. But wait.
One thing.
All right. So the thing is that, I mean, that's kind of like, you can't have it like, you yourself were such in love with Sierra Leone that you wanted to retire.
Yeah, retire is another thing. Not go to leave. I'm retiring. On my Social Security.
That means you would live there.
I'm telling you
I mean, no, wait.
Get sick over there. I would get sick over there. I would have a place here.
Wait. So listen.
I would still have my place here.
That right. Well, there's not to say that you can't have dual access. Well, I think dual citizenship will possibly be questioned at least over the next 4 years.
I wouldn't want citizenship over there.
No, I got you. But this is the thing. So you were such in love with the place that you yourself wanted to retire there, right? Now, granted, the thing that you know now is not what you knew then, right? And the way that you feel now may not necessarily be the same way you felt then. May not be. Don't know. Not questioning.
Yeah, I mean, the paradigm. There's a paradigm shift.
There has been a paradigm.
Came on the screen. There's a paradigm shift ongoing right now.
Absolutely. But the thing is that everyone has to be able to make the absolute best decision for them in the midst of everything that's happening right now. So,
that's the issue with us. Everybody got their own way of doing things. They want to do this. They want to do that. Wait. The common interest of the African American.
I got you.
All right.
But hold on. Let's say if we took slavery, right? So we'll look at America as a huge plantation, right? And there are some places that you can go.
It literally is.
It's about, yeah.
Let me say that. Use that term.
So if there are some who are able to gain their freedom and find a way to be able to reach back, it doesn't mean that they're going to go away for absolutely forever. But in order to being able to give yourself some type of reprieve from what is actually occurring and what's happening now. So, right. So, but again, so there are some who sit there and say, no, we pick these watermelons each year in, year out. We pick these beans, we pick this corn, we pick this cabbage. This is our land. They eat because we're the ones who's doing the work. We should not leave here because this is our home. This is where our children was raised. I married my wife here. I did this, I did that. And so, yes, there is some sentiment and attachment to the places in which we are. I am not suggesting that we should have some mass exodus, right? However, if all of our ancestors thought the same way and stayed instead of leaving, whether they fled to Canada, another country, whether they fled to the Caribbean, whether they fled to France, or whether they fled to, wherever, or even just to the north, because to us, to those who were on the plantations in the deep South, the North was a whole different type of country. I mean, it was different rules, it's different regulations, it was a different life. And so I think there has to be a balance between how we're actually going about this, and not necessarily to demonize those who feel like it would be better for them and their families at this point in time to being able to go. And maybe they could
But I can know, yeah, I mean, I can appreciate what you're saying, Ernest. But I think people need to be committed to the fact that should anything go down, we're going to need our people.
Right. But
That's all I'm saying.
Right. But that's the, I mean, so the point is,
I mean,
here's the thing. To your point is that we need our people, right? But
Right.
if the person who is the most revolutionary, right, the most charismatic is killed first on the plantation, then we've lost our leader. But
Well, see, that's the mindset that we got to get out of. That
no. This is what I'm saying. No, because we do need somebody to
leadership.
Yes.
But the thing is, it should be spread out. Wherein you kill one, it should be like guacamole. That's what we should be. You kill one leader, another one pops up over here. You kill one over here, another one pops up over here. That's what we got. That's how we got to change.
Right, but see that's so. I'm just going to use Harriet Tubman obviously because she's the one that's given the most credit for escaping, right, or even the Nat Turner, right, for leading a revolutionary, going back, getting others, and everything else. Thing about it is they strung him up, cut every part of his body off.
Well, that's the sacrifice.
No, but that it is part. Absolutely. But you
remind me of something, Ernest. You remind me of something.
What's that?
Everybody dislikes the Asians and this and that, but the Asians stood up to the white man. They fought for their freedom. They're the only ex-slave that fought and won against the French. Okay? Yeah, they won. They won. They had a rebellion and they won their freedom from the French. But then the United States comes in and put all these stipulations on when they sued for peace. They put all these stipulations. No, you got to pay X amount of dollars. You got to do this. But people should respect the Haitians because they stood up and they died for their freedom. That's why they're in the situation they are now. But the white man doesn't forget.
The general's
they don't
name.
Forget, and we can't forget either.
But the general's name is Toussaint L'Ouverture, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. But I'm with you. I'm familiar with it. But again, there was still some who had to leave that country. Some had to stay. That general did fight. They were able to, organize. They outnumbered. Well, I mean, we've had rebellions where we've won and they've, were able to get back into power, and then we're able to get to where we are.
Like the Haitians. The Haitians.
Oh no, it's nothing like the Haitians. But then again, also then, but Haiti also lives in a different type of government as well, and still kind of needed some interceding from neighboring countries to provide aid in different forms, whether it was military, whether it was USAID, like USAID, so whether it was addressing their disasters, any poverty, and or any other political issues that they have with some of the dictators that were in rule there in Haiti. So yeah. I mean, there's a lot that I think that has to be kind of flushed out when it comes down to staying, fighting. Because I mean, even if we stood to fight now, I think there has to be some type of consensus on how we're prioritizing. Like, what are we fighting for? What are the priorities in that? What are the methodologies for this particular fight? Like, again, because we can't just gut out and gunsling and or anything like that.
I know all that.
Right now I know you know that, but I'm just saying, like, so we have to be so where do we go? How do we do this? And to your point, yes, we're going to need people to run for elections. So I try to sit there and say, register to vote. Make sure you got a plan to go and vote. Make sure you support somebody who's voting, or run yourself. We're going to need that in every election. We're going to need people to continue to be great entrepreneurs and make as much money and power and influence. We're going to still need to teach people how to do effective communication, how to make sure they do effective research, but we still need relationships in all these other countries as well. So if
you leading the platoon, I'm here, man. Okay,
I appreciate it.
You see that? I'm ready. Yeah. All right, just let me know. Just deploy me. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to use a gun.
I got you.
All right, and I'm ready.
I'm actually said you gotta do a proper salute, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. So you actually have to straighten it out. But no, it's good. Yeah, that's better. That's better. That's better.
All right, y'all out there, you see that it's a proper salute, right? Okay. All right, Ernest. So anyway, thank you. You have a good week.
Yep.
I want to thank everybody that what we're global. Now we have people from Ukraine follow us. We got up 5 or 10 people in Ukraine that listens to us. We got people in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Brazil,
Germany.
I know. Believe it or not, we got China out there listening to us. Maybe they want to turn us at this. I don't know. But we got China listening to us. We got all these countries listening to us. I hope we can make a difference. The most important difference we make is to our community. The African-American community, we love you guys. That's why we do the show. We're not making any money, but we do the show because we know that information needs to be passed out. And we need a lot of voices in this world today because things have changed. Things have changed. Right? Since Trump got in office, he got all these people. I saw the one of the cabinet members, a woman, I forgot which area she's in charge of. She was on the news yesterday with a cowboy head on, unless she going through the rodeo. And I was insulted. All right, I don't like it.
Well, you talking about the for Homeland Security?
Yeah. DHS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's up there with a cowboy head, like she's partying somewhere. All right, having a good time, good old time. But that's okay. Everybody, what goes around comes around. And I just want to thank all of our listeners again. And just stick with us because you're going to get facts. We're going to discuss topics that are important. We don't mess around with jokes, and we joke, but we don't cover entertainment. That's good. Sports. We don't cover sports, but we may. Who knows? But the most important thing is that our listeners are informed. That's the most important thing, that they are informed. And that's what we try to do. All right. That's it. Please like, share, follow.
Subscribe.
And do all you need to do to keep us on the air. That's all you got to do. And we're going to continue to provide you with value add every time we do a show. So thank you so much for your support. Ernest, any final words?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, comment.
All right. You heard Sergeant Robinson, right? I want y'all guys to like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do. And make comments. Don't send me messages. I got a lot of messages. Oh, man, that was nice. Man, that's really thought-provoking. Somebody sent me a message. That was thought-provoking. Put it on the comments. Put it in the comments. That's where it counts. But I appreciate it, though. You send me a message, fine. I don't care. That's good. That means that Ernest and I work hard to bring you a podcast to make sure that we bring you facts and we discuss things that are important to the community. All right? So that's what we do. And we'll continue to do so. Have a good one. See you next week. Bye-bye.